Hello fellow humans and welcome to the Batchat 25T and the Leopard 1 later on. This vehicle, 2.8k DPM, 350 alpha damage, 0.3 accuracy, only 6 degrees of gun depression, but it is an oscillating turret, so that it is expected. But it's a light tank, so it does keep its camouflage while moving somehow. And it also has incredible mobility. So why am I talking about this vehicle in this video? Well, quite simply because this vehicle has for years had a weird configuration of it being a 105mm gun, yet having 310 alpha damage. But now it does have 350 alpha damage, which is what the usual value was for 105mm guns, but now Wargaming has decided to put it all over the place. But nonetheless, the alpha damage has been buffed up by quite a bit. So now that means that instead of a 930 clip damage, this vehicle now has 1050 clip damage, which might not seem like a lot, but you can now half-shot a couple more tier 10s, which is quite useful. Now, the problem, though, is it has a longer reload. So DPM still stays the same. It's under 3k, which is normal for an autoloader to be lower than that of a regular gun, but let's say compare it to the Leopard 1, it has 1,000 less. So, interesting there. However, it still gets around. And to be fair, it's a vehicle that is worth picking up here, and Ready today is playing it quite nicely. 3.5k damage in 2 minutes, which is already quite impressive. And it's very difficult to play, though. You can get around with it very easily. Just hopping around the map, this is what makes a good player. And that is not to simply sit in one spot and wait for opportunities to come to you, but to go out and find them yourself. And that is what this vehicle is excellent at. However, there is a TVP right there, which apparently only has 2 shots of ammunition loaded, and he attacked the Batchat. That's not something you should ideally do if you're in a TVP or a Batchat. Don't try to face hug a guy that you can't clip, because otherwise you're screwed while reloading. But in this case, look at that, 6,000 damage in not even 3 minutes. So this vehicle is definitely worth getting now. And the very nice ace right there. But now we get to the Leopard 1, another vehicle that has been adjusted in 10.3, and I just love this damn thing. It's got almost 4k DPM now if you are running the gun rammer. I personally do run calibrated because it has heat, so you get yourself 10% extra penetration, and you get back to 330 penetration, which is what all of these tier 10 medium tanks used to have many years ago before Wargaming nerfed them. And it still has over 3.6k DPM if you run calibrated, so there is... Just use whichever one of those two you want, basically. Whichever one you feel more comfortable with. If you are feeling like you're not having enough DPM, run the calibrated, run the gun rammer. If you feel like you don't have enough penetration, then run calibrated. And it doesn't really matter in the long run, because it's up to you to play the vehicle well or not. Now, the Leopard is one of those vehicles, just like the Batchat, that requires ultimate player input that, if left to itself, won't really achieve anything whatsoever, which is why this is not a beginner vehicle at all. But if you want to find out what beginner vehicle you should pick if you're new to the game, well, I've made a video about that, or will make a video about it, depending on when this releases. And the thing is, this is what the Leopard strives at. That E100, he's not looking at me. He doesn't have a chance. I can just absolutely pound this guy down with my incredibly high DPM. However, finding spots like this, finding opportunities like this, it just takes quite a long time to figure out. And it also takes a lot of dying here and there to eventually understand where can I play, what spots are useful. I mean, for example, this one right here is very useful because you can shoot both the middle and you can shoot the bridge side. So if you don't know about this spot, you do now. But obviously one thing to keep in mind is that you are somewhat vulnerable to the side. So if you have tank destroyers like the FE 4005 over there, you have to be careful that they won't shoot you. In this case, he's not going to, because I don't know why, but the 4005 decided to simply abandon and get out of there. Now, another very useful thing to do is just isolate single targets like this KPZ. I don't get the shot in the end, but that's the easiest way to get free damage. Just find yourself some enemy tank that's just out in the middle of nowhere and then just shoot them. Or this IS-4 who's trying to YOLO into an E75 to get a free kill and throw away all of his hit points. Remember, kids, no kill is worth all of your hit points, because this IS-4, he pretty much wasn't full HP at the beginning of this. Now he's dead. Absolutely not worth it. So don't throw away hit points for pointless kills. That is one of the easiest and first things to learn, is that you think before you drive. That is also very useful for many car drivers out there. But then again, it is a 4 versus 4. And what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to just sit around in one spot and have some tea. I'm going to try to get out and find myself some opportunities for damage. And what I can see right here is that Jagdtiger's crossing the bridge. I exactly know what spot I have to go to engage with that Jagdtiger. And now he is gone. However, the 4005 knows that I'm here. So he's going to engage with me and get a shot. And now I'm a one-shot. Which kind of makes things a little bit more difficult. Because if you're a one-shot, you have to play just that much more careful, especially in a vehicle that has absolutely no protection whatsoever, just like the Leopard. Obviously, the more hit points you can preserve at the beginning of the battle, the more useful it'll be later on. But if you end up getting shot, like I am here, you can still live on a one-shot. You just have to know how to play. And essentially, it does make sense tactically to sort of always play a vehicle like a Leopard or like a Batchat, like Batman. It lost both its parents and now it's all alone and scared. But it has mighty power if it comes from out of nowhere and RKOs you. That was kind of a weird mix-up, but anyway. Essentially, the point here is you've got no backup in these vehicles. You are the backup, and you are the one that swoops in from the sky and beats the shit out of the people that don't pay attention while they're trying to beat up your teammates. That's how these kind of vehicles work. So, Batman. Am I gonna get copyrighted by DC now? Probably. But here, same again. I'm sort of at a distance. I mean, it's a 183, that's my teammate here, but I have absolutely no intention of going frontline in something like a Leopard 1. You can brawl, and if you see my recent short, it works very nicely, but you can only really brawl if you know that you've already won the brawl before you start it. So, against the 4005 with a 4-shot autoloader, you don't want to get close. You just want to simply, again, Batman, swoop in from the side and punch him in the face. Which is very nice. So, now a Conqueror is left alive. And this is where this game takes a little bit of a dark turn. I'm 370 hit points, and that Conqueror is almost 800. The Conqueror doesn't look at me, and I just swing at him. And now he's got 392 hit points. It might make sense to not simply peek him, but I roll the dice here, and I leave him on 1 hit point. So, chill. And play more careful. And now, if you're a good player, I highly, highly recommend picking up the Leopard and the Batchat, because they are a lot of fun. If you know what you're doing, you're gonna get great games. Thank you for watching. See you next one. Goodbye.